Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 349th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what it places in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So I initially discussed the veteran West Coast gangster rap outfit Compton's Most Wanted, through their involvement in MC8's killer 1994 solo debut, We Come Strapped. But the first release I actually covered that was officially under the CMW name was in my previous set of 90s classics, where I tackled what most people view as the crew's magnum opus, me included, 1992's Music to Drive By. And of course I'll link both of those reviews down below in the description, since in them I break down the rotating roster of members, and touch on their groundbreaking 1990 debut, It's a Compton Thing. However, even though the lineup stayed pretty much the same after this killer sophomore album here, 1991 Straight Checkn, I will at least briefly go over the various members who were active in the crew up until this point in their career, which outside of 8 included DJ Slip and the Unknown DJ, who were the masterminds behind the dark, brooding sound that would really go on to define their music. And as usual, that would leave the enigmatic and seasoned rapper MC8 as the captain of the ship lyrically. One of the more notable moments on this thing comes in the form of the track Death Wish, which inadvertently would sort of serve as the spark for the longtime beef between CMW and DJ Quick, through a misinterpreted line, where afterwards Quick would respond, and thus ensued a good 6-year back and forth in which Compton's Most Wanted would proceed to make a Death Wish 2 and 3, and those diss songs just so happened to have appeared on the 2 previous projects I was discussing. However, as impactful and consequential as the original Death Wish was, there are certain other standout tracks here that you could argue are just as, if not more important, and album-defining. And the main example that comes to my head in that department is the gritty autobiographical song Growing Up in the Hood, which for me sort of acts like a slightly less romanticized predecessor to Ice Cube's It Was a Good Day, which I actually just brought up a few uploads ago when I covered The Predator, which was the album that giant single came from. With both stories being about a pretty standard day in the ghetto, they just go in separate directions ultimately and have a slightly different approach. That isn't to imply that all of the material on Straight Checkn is relentlessly dark or anything, as there are a few moments of levity sprinkled throughout, like the lighter and more chill instrumental that pops up on the back end of the album for the song Can I Kill It, or even the track I Don't Dance, which ironically has a beat that's so funky it almost ensures you will dance, in spite of the record's name. I think a quality that ended up serving as a double-edged sword here is the uncompromising, violent, and often brutal yet realistic subject matter, which may have helped the music stick out and gain street credibility, but the downside was how they kind of ended up receiving the Ghetto Boys NWA treatment, where the occasional themes of killing policemen and standing up to authority were taken extremely seriously, but unfortunately in the case of CMW, that controversy didn't end up resulting in the same level of fame and praise as those other artists, and there definitely wasn't much in the way of positive musical exposure, as mindless critics just labeled them as promoting violence and crime. This time around, that type of content comes through moments like the title track, and especially Drive By Miss Daisy, and I want to kick some of MC8's killer opening lines here, just to display how this story is clearly intended to be fictional and hyperbolic, yet still within the wheelhouse of what you might witness any given night growing up in Compton. He starts off this memorable cautionary tale rapping, "Picture a brother on the warpath, and he'll spread terror through the city and leave a trail of bloodbaths. And to those that know, he's not a phony, but tonight he'll get his vengeance on the fool who killed his homie. Don't give a fuck, he'll take you smooth on out, 'cause the hood is where it's good is what it's about, yeah. Don't wanna squabble, throw down, or even kick him, just pull the fucking trigger, 'cause to him you're just a victim. Jumped in the car, ash traces of dub. Hit a couple of corners and pulls up at the bud spot where it's hot. Yeah boy, he knows it, but before he does the killing, he's got to get loaded. Throws up the set, then he bones out quick, then he spits at a bitch just for riding his dick. Now he's at the curb, and yeah, he's got the feeling. He tells his homie, gee, let's get ready for the killin'. Little did he know Miss Daisy's in the kitchen, standing cooking chicken. Nine started clicking, ran up to the back of the house like relay races. Just like a train robbery, bandanas on their faces. He hears this fucking little voice in his brain, and it's saying, "Don't kill, we're all in the same gang." He tells it back, "That ain't the gang I'm in." Because the gang I'm in is like in it to win. So he killed off the sucker right there. He didn't stop, ran through the rooms and went pop, pop, pop. The explanation for this, he was crazy. I guess that's why he had to drive by Miss Daisy. As demented and warped as this track is, I always found it morbidly hilarious how towards the end of that verse, you almost start to get the impression that he's going to let his potential victim live, since he has what almost seems like a moment of clarity. But then of course the devil on his shoulder wins out, and he pulls a reverse Uno by just killing the guy. This LP is basically the definition of a project handled completely in-house, as not only do DJ Slip and the Unknown DJ cover 100% of the production here, but literally all of the rapping is handled by MC8, without a single feature or guest appearance in sight. For my honorable mentions this time around, I want to give the nod to songs like They Still Gafflin', Wanted, Straight Checkin' 'Em, I Don't Dance, Raised in Compton, Can I Kill It, and Compton's Lynchin'. Then with my overall top 3 favorites, I ultimately had to trim it down to Growing Up in the Hood, Drive By Miss Daisy, and Death Wish. Thank you for watching my 349th video. Next up, we have a Southern classic that's definitely way past due, so look out for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what moments hit you the hardest off this California gangster rap staple. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.